Hey guys, it's Cam Shore. This week we've been tasked with giving a demonstrative speech. Since I tend to have an affinity toward baseball, I'd like to give a little demonstration on how to be a good pitcher. Now, the first step in becoming a good pitcher is deciding which arm rotation you prefer to do. There's an overhand approach, the sidearm approach, and a submarine approach. There's also a plethora of different pitches to throw, but today I'm going to show you the form of how to throw a 4-seam and 2-seam fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. The core pitches of most pitchers, and if you plan on being in the major leagues, these pitches are fairly essential. Now, starting off, you need to find out which delivery is good for you. The first and most common is the overhand approach, and that's basically stated when you're pitching and the arm comes straight over. This is very common and seen in most pitchers. It's good to develop a different style, perhaps, maybe not necessarily directly over top, maybe 3/4, and just to give the batter a different eye level, something different to look at than most other pitchers. The next delivery option is the sidearm approach, which, just as it states, is a sidearm delivery delivered at approximately 90 degrees from the body and delivered to the plate. This delivery gives a much different eye level for the batter and gives most of your pitches a little bit more movement than in the overhand approach. And finally, there's the submarine approach, which requires the pitcher often to drop his body down and drop his arm low like a submarine and then bring the ball up. This throws off a lot of hitters because it's a very rare approach to pitching in baseball. And it gives the ball a lot of movement, but it's very difficult to master. Now, when it comes to choosing your pitches, the most common one is the 4-seam fastball. This pitch is thrown by gripping the baseball across the 4 seams. There's a horseshoe right there. You want to grip it across that horseshoe so that the ball is able to carry a lot of velocity. Those seams aren't getting in the way as much. It's not gathering much wind resistance. They're able to gather a lot of speed. The sister of the 4-seam fastball is the 2-seam fastball, where you take the baseball along these that make the horseshoe with your first 2 fingers and deliver it that way. Depending on your pitching preference will determine the movement. From the overhand delivery method, it'll break away from a right-handed batter if you're right-handed, and vice versa if you're left-handed. From the sidearm position, it'll slide across away from the batter in more of a right-to-left movement than a jerking movement as in the overhand delivery. The next pitch is a curveball, and there's many variances, but the way I like to throw it is looking at the horseshoe and grabbing it along one of the horseshoe sides with 2 fingers, and then taking your thumb directly across to the other horseshoe. And this is delivered when you go overhand, you snap the wrist, giving it that curving action to break away from a right-handed batter for a right-handed pitcher, and vice versa for a left-handed pitcher. This pitch is really good because it's not as fast as a fastball. It's off speed. It slows down. It changes up what the batter is going to see. And it also usually has a great breaking distance, usually somewhere between 6 and 12 inches, depending on how good the pitcher is, and can really throw off a batter. The final pitch is a changeup, and this pitch can either be thrown with the full palm, grabbing the ball, or by taking your fingers and making a circle around the horseshoe of the ball, and the other fingers resting on the side, and delivered with your pitching preference. This pitch sometimes can move depending on the wind speed and the way it's delivered, and is also really good at throwing off batters after throwing 2 or 3 fastballs. Changing up the speed and changing the way the ball moves can really throw off the batter. I've shown you a few ways to develop your pitching. These are good starting blocks to build up a great pitching repertoire. And now, building on that, you can throw all sorts of pitches. You can throw sliders, knuckleballs, cutters, forkballs, and the opportunities are endless. Pitchers are coming up with different pitches each and every day and different ways to deliver it to fool the batter. Now, get out there, play ball, and strike them out.